What is going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to make your first $1,000 with 3D printing with zero modeling experience. My name is Brandon, and I accumulated or made over $22,000 in sales from 3D printed products and have turned this into a full-time business. And what I want to do in today's video is show you exactly how to make money with 3D printing, even if you have zero modeling experience. So this is off the cuff. There's no script. There's nothing to sell you. More or less, this is going to teach you everything that I've learned over the past year or so. I've actually been doing this for 4 years, but I didn't go all in until last year of 2023. And what I want to do in this video is teach you exactly what I would have done if I were to start over from scratch, and exactly how to make my first $1,000 with this hobby and turning this hobby into a side hustle or into a business. So very first thing here, I want to tell you guys exactly my story. And I don't think I have told you guys my story yet. For me, I started in the height of the pandemic. So right around, I would say, July or March time, that's when I got my first printer. My first printer was actually an Ender 5. I had an Ender 3, and I had a longer LK4. I had the Ender 5 and the Ender 3 because they were, I guess, reasonable printers at that time. This was back in like 2021, 2020, when there was no such thing as Bamboo printers. There was no such thing as fast out-of-the-box 3D printing, and the only competitor or the major reliable competitor in the market was Prusa. But now with things where they are now, it's kind of shifted to Bamboo because Prusa, I think, in my opinion, has kind of fallen short. But more or less at that time, Ender 3, Ender 5, and the longer LK4, I actually got the longer because I needed the larger build plate for my designs and the work I was selling. So in my first year of selling, I made around $3,500 selling neon signs. And the way that worked was that I was selling the designs itself that I would 3D print. And within the design itself, it had like gaps and stuff like that where I can put the neon strips and fit the neon strips and fit the wiring inside of it. And then from there, I would list that product online, and I was able to undercut my competitors who were also selling neon signs because one, there was no one in my space that does 3D printing that was selling neon signs. And two, if you were to get a neon sign like gas neon, it would cost a lot more money and you need like a professional to do it. And or if you do it with just regular neon strips, you have to purchase a sheet of acrylic, which that sheet of acrylic can be pricey. So then I could undercut my competitors because my manufacturing cost, which my 3D printing cost, was exponentially cheaper, and my major cost was just the neon signs itself, which is the neon strips. And most of my time went around to just soldering the stuff together and piecing everything and then shipping it off to the customer, which was pretty cool, especially within my first year of 3D printing. And while I was making money, I spent as much time learning modeling in Fusion 360. So none of the money that I made at that time, I did not spend it. I didn't. I guess what I'm trying to say is I didn't use it on stupid stuff. Like I didn't go out buy shoes. I didn't go out and just go to the club or anything like that. Although it's not a lot of money, it's some side hustle money, which I didn't use it to spend on things that really didn't help me out at all. When I was making that money, that allowed me to fuel my learning, which was learning 3D modeling in Fusion 360, and more or less taking that income and investing it into myself in courses and programs and mentors, and getting as much information as I can to get out of the space of just going small in terms of just making $3,500 a year, all the way to scaling it up to 22 and up. And as of right now, trying to go as even higher as to 100K, $100,000 in 3D printing income. At least that's my goal for this year. And from there, once you start, when you're making money online and you are investing in courses, you want to create, or at least for me, as soon as I got better with my 3D modeling experience, as soon as I got better selling online and got more confident with that, I started creating more premium designs, charging more, and now I have over 30,000 followers across all channels, which is TikTok, on Instagram, and that's over a span of 1 year. Now, it might seem like a really long time, 1 year, but realistically, that 1 year just flew by really quick, and there was a lot of work that was done, but over that past year of 2023, there was a lot of growth and a lot of things that I see now differently with this niche and this hobby, and how I can realistically monetize my designs and my artwork without having to, I guess, more or less build a print farm, which is one thing for me. I don't want to build a print farm. I more or less just want to focus on creating really cool stuff for people to download, print, and buy, and only sell the products on a limited time basis. That's my focus for 2024, and more or less what I want you to do as moving forward as you get towards later on in your journey. So this is just my story, more or less what I did and exactly how I got to where I am as of right now. Now for you, the first thing I want to talk about is your mindset. So when it comes to this hobby, when it comes to any business, realistically, because this is a business, like realistically, if you're going to sell anything online, if you're going to sell products, if you're going to sell STL files, 3D, even if it's 3D printed, you need to be in the right mindset. So I would say the first thing for me, and that helped me out a lot, was working out at least 3 to 4 times per week. Now you might be saying, Brandon, like, why are you talking about this? I just want to sell stuff. Like, I just want to make money. Sure, but in my opinion, your personal problems will reflect in your business. And if honestly, if you're not getting your mindset down, your priorities in terms of working out, in terms of your relationships, in terms of your worldview, you're very likely not going to succeed. Because if you already don't believe in yourself to work out, to eat right, to eat clean, to focus, to put all that energy and effort into yourself first, you're not going to be able to do the same within your business. So within here, work out at least 3 to 4 times per week if possible, maybe even 5 or 6 if you can. If you're already doing that, great. Second thing, set a time and schedule when you're going to work on your business. This is the biggest one for me. So for me, I really struggle with time management, especially in the beginning. So if you're going to focus on something, you need to set a time. For example, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., that's when you're going to work on your business, right? 3 hours of just focused work, phone off your desk, away from you. My phone is like all the way on the other side, so I can't even reach it. But you need to set a time and date as when you're going to work on this. And I know that you guys might have jobs, you might have other priorities or other things going on, but you need to set a schedule as to when you're going to work on this and when you're going to do this. The third thing is write your goals down for your income. So how much do you want to make? So that's including like, excuse me, that's excluding all your expenses and all the costs that are associated with it. Because of course, if you're not making money yet, you don't really want to focus on that. You just want to focus like, hey, how much do you want to make extra per week? So $200, $300, $400, $500, $600. How much more money do you want to make per week? And write that down. So realistically, if you want to make an extra $200 a week, which is $800 a month, then that means that if your product that you're selling is $10, you need to sell 20 of those within 7 days in order to hit that $200 goal before expenses and taxes and all that stuff, right? So you need to write these things down so you can solidify exactly what you're trying to hit. And more or less later on in the video, I'm going to show you exactly how to hit those goals, even if you don't have any modeling experience. And lastly, surround yourself with people who are also selling and monetizing their work. So down below in the description, if you haven't already, feel free to join the 3D printing community. It's free. There's tons of resources and guides to help you along the way. Additionally, there's even people who are already selling, people who got their printers 2 months ago. I was speaking to somebody in the group who made $400 within his first 2 months of 3D printing, selling designs online. And honestly, that paid for itself. So if you buy like an A1 mini or an A1, $400 basically pays back the price of the printer, which is exactly what you're looking for, and especially as a beginner or a first-time seller. So your mindset needs to be working out, set a time to do the work, write your income goals down, and surround yourself with people who are also selling or making money online. So with that said, let's move over to getting started, which is creating a store. So after this video, when you have time, whenever you can, right away, create an online store. I don't care if it's Etsy, if it's eBay, if it's OfferUp, if it's Facebook Marketplace. I don't care. Just create the store. Just have it legally under your name with your personal name, your all the details required to fill out and create that stuff. That's part one. 2, use other creators' files and designs to sell. So for example, I mentioned in this video how to get started with 0 modeling experience. So instead of using your 3D modeling experience, or I guess lack thereof, use other people's designs and artwork and purchase a license to use their artwork, like a commercial license, of course being respectful of whatever licensing they have, using their designs and listing their designs and listing it upward online. So practice photography, learn product photography. So in this instance, while you're in process of making money and while you're in process of creating your store and at least getting a listing on your store, learn the process of taking product photos, and I guess taking good product photos. Like take your phone, take the product on your desk, take a whole bunch of photos, different angles, different lighting, different environments, as much as you can, and get really good at this. In the beginning, you won't be as great, but at least you're getting into the groove of things and learning what it takes to take product photos, especially since it's quite a difficult thing, especially in the beginning. But as you're learning, you'll get that practice, and moving on later on, when you start creating your own designs, you know exactly what you need to do for your own work and your own products. That way it becomes 10 times easier instead of just having to wait until you learn 3D modeling on its own. Next, learn SEO for listings and marketing campaigns. So, for example, when you create a product, you need to create the product and list it online. But just because you have it online, that doesn't mean people are going to find it. So you need to create a way to get foot traffic into your store in a sense. So learn TikTok videos, learn how to create videos on TikTok, learn how to create Instagram videos, learn how to where to post these designs or products online. Use Pinterest as a resource or as a traffic source to bring traffic into your store, and learn these different marketing methods, of course, all organic as much as possible. And organic meaning using like social media, using Pinterest, using common places where lots of people hover around. Heck, even use Reddit if you want. Like just share photos and don't even mention that you're selling. Just share the photos and share the updates on the product that you have or have made, right? And lastly, the fastest, at least the easiest way that I've learned that most people I've spoken to is that they've sold to locally to their friends. So it's either people within their local community. For example, we had this one guy within our group who sold like coasters to people within his community for like 10 to 15 bucks. And he made quite a bit of money from that. And it's easy money because you're just printing the item, which is just plastic. And if you were to charge like 15 bucks for a coaster, well, it's fairly easy. Like it doesn't cost you much money and it's all profit basically. So sell locally first if you can. Get that money and use that money to save up for investing in yourself. So once you've started your store, you need to start marketing your stuff. So you need to create a TikTok and an Instagram account and start posting frequently and daily. Now, I know this is very intimidating and daunting in the beginning. You don't have to be on camera or anything like that. Just more or less, at least show the product that you're working on, show exactly what you're doing. Heck, look at my products on my account and my Instagram and stuff like that if you want ideas or inspiration, or go on the TikTok or the Instagram feed for the Explore page and look at what other creators are doing. Now, not creators for 3D printing, but creators and product or people who are selling products, and see what they are doing. You can get ideas and kind of see what direction you want to go to and what artistic style you'd want, but don't get caught up on the like high quality content. Just start posting content and just start getting consistent with it. So also, like I said, follow other creators and replicate what's working. So use trends, use viral audio clips, learn this skill because this is the hardest skill. For me, in 2023, when I was first getting started, I knew by default that if I was going to make 3D printed products, I had to market it. Like there was just no way around it. Like I could have a Shopify store, an eBay store, an Etsy store, and I could have all the products and just kind of wait around for people to just find it and buy it. But I knew that was going to take a long time. So I had to create a TikTok account and I had to create an Instagram account and I had to post as often as I could, showing the product and what it does and what I was making at that time. And over that last year, after accumulated around over 30,000 followers as of right now from those two platforms, Instagram and TikTok, I can tell you that these platforms reward you based on how frequently you can post and whether or not the content goes viral or not. So not all piece of content is going to go viral, and that's not what you're aiming for. We're aiming for consistently and constantly showing up within the newsfeed of people who are on the platform consuming content. So in my instance, when I was creating products and creating my own designs, I knew that I would have to showcase it. I use different ways. I use ASMR as kind of like a vehicle to showcase the product. I show unboxing videos for as a vehicle to show my product. I showed like behind the scenes of creating the product from scratch and then showcasing it. So more or less, like I did as much as I can, and I'm also experimenting with it to kind of see what's working. And the things that work, you'd be surprised what works. Like I had one video do close to 1 million views, all because it was like 10 seconds long and I used a viral audio of the product, and that product was just an STL file of the product that I was selling. And some people purchased the STL and some people purchased the product. So more or less, you will over time figure out what works, but you need to get started with just posting your first video. And income. So this is a big one. So while you're learning how to sell online, you need to learn 3D modeling. So while you're listing your store, while you're listing your products, in that process of doing these things, you need to learn Fusion 360 or Blender or Rhinoceros or Onshape, whatever program you decide to go with. If you decide you want to make like products that are like functional, I'd say Fusion 360. If you want to make like products that a little bit have a little bit more of a, I guess, fluid form to it, that have more intricate details or flexies or stuff like that, then Blender is also a good program for that. But more or less, any money that you do make, so if, for example, you create your store, you start marketing your products, and if you make money with that, use that income that you made to invest into learning 3D modeling. Buy courses from creators who are also 3D modeling in terms of just creating content around Blender or Fusion 360. Digest as much information as you can. Don't spend it on things that you don't need. Invest it right away and learn these skills, because this is the only skill that is handicapping you from reaching your goal, or at least your income goal, faster. Because once you can create your own artwork and designs, you're no longer handicapped to someone else's artwork and designs and having to restrict yourself based off of their license. Because at any time, these creators can take away their license and change their terms. And by any means, they're not really going to, like, it's their stuff, it's their artwork. So realistically, there's nothing you can do. So in the meantime, while you're first getting started, use other creators' work and artwork to sell online. And in that process, while you are creating and learning, use that time to learn 3D modeling. And if you make some money selling the stuff that you make, use that money to invest into courses, into coaches, into materials, into learning as much as you can into the program of your choice, whatever it is. So that way you can exponentially grow, or at least shorten the learning curve. And that way you can start making your own products and start building your own portfolio of things that you have made. So also, one last thing I do want to note with this video is that you need to respect other creators' artwork. And the 3D printing space, I would say that there is a lack of respect for other creators, for their artwork. There's constant stealing, there's constant remixing of designs that are not allowed. Now, this is not to say that you can't remake a product that's already exists or anything like that, but more or less, I would say that if you're going to use someone else's artwork, respect their artwork and the materials that they are using and giving to you. Make sure to read their licensing details. Make sure to be in accordance to whatever it is they have. So if they ask you to pay $10 a month and ask you to submit a form of all the stores that you have, or if they tell you to use an authorized seller badge, or if they tell you that that you need to put somewhere in the description that you're an authorized seller, make sure to respect those boundaries, because the last thing I would want is for you to get into any legal trouble with any other creators, and more or less avoid any issues. Additionally, avoid copyrighted materials and products. So for example, if you are going to sell products online and you're going to use other creators' artwork, and for example, if the other creator is creating content or products or STLs around like Pokemon and stuff like that, I know it might be tempting to want to use the already existing product like that because it's a known brand and a known name. But more or less, what I want to emphasize here is that you don't want to sell those types of products. You want to sell products that are not like IP'd or have a copyright to it, or use like brand names like Pokemon and stuff like that, because that type of artwork is very rampant within the 3D printing community. And although it might be cool to print it and to enjoy it as a personal use, but selling that realistically could get you into trouble. And the last thing you'd want is to jeopardize your ability to sell online, all because you are selling copyrighted stuff that isn't yours, and that also isn't that creator who made it, because it's a copyrighted stuff like Pokemon, and jeopardizing your ability to sell on any of these platforms, because once you lose that ability, you'll never get it back. So with that said, hopefully this video has been insightful and helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.